Hello, welcome to Art's Corner. I'm Art McFadden with ISTT, and this is October, which is Cyber Safety Security Month. Today, I've got with me a very special guest, an old friend of mine, Officer Ronnie Ward with Bowling Green Police. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Art. Thank you.
Good. Ronnie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm the Public Information Officer for the Bowling Green Police Department. I've been a police officer for about 13 years, a little over 13 years, and I've been doing this job for about 9. And so one of the things that I get to do during this job is about education. So that was one reason why we wanted to get together with you and see if we can do everything that we can do to educate our community, because it's something that's very important to me, and especially for people that are under attack. And that's sometimes it seems like the elderly in our community are under attack, and we try to do everything we can to help and educate and answer questions and just be involved all that we can.
Yeah, I find it discouraging sometimes when someone tells me I'm not smart enough to know this. Okay, that is a false statement. Think about this. Our children, they grew up with these devices in their hands. Ronnie, me and you, neither one of us are spring chickens. We did not have a computer in our classrooms in elementary school, did we?
No, we sure didn't.
No, not till I got to college. But so we call it a generational gap, and it's nobody's fault. It's the fact that these younger people have had this technology their entire life, whereas us, it's only going to be a certain percentage of our life when it's all said and done.
Yeah,
Ronnie, what kind of problems are we seeing in our area?
You know, one of the things that I try to talk about to anybody that'll sit for 5 minutes and listen to me is scams, because this is something that, you know, and when I talk about scams of all types and sizes and shapes and what they look like and how they work, and the attack really on the elderly is, I talk about that they grew up in a different time. They grew up in a time where you helped your neighbor, you helped your family, you helped your friends, you did whatever you could, you didn't lock your doors, you know, and that was just, you never said no. And so now when they're under attack from these people who are scamming them from all directions, via phone, via email, through your computer, phone calls, you know, they feel vulnerable because they don't like saying no. So one of the things that I always talk about is just hang the phone up. Just don't listen to this mess. Just hang the phone up. One of the things that I ask people is, how many times have you ever gotten a phone call that you needed to make a snap decision at a moment's notice in your entire life? And I'd say probably for me and you, Art, we've probably never gotten one of those. And even for lots of them, they've never gotten that phone call that you have to make a decision, a financial decision right now. And so I say, look, if your bank calls you and says, hey, we need your personal information to verify this thing, just hang up and call your bank. Don't take this from people.
Ronnie, this is obviously years ago, my first attempted financial crime that I worked was a spoofed phone number. The potential victim was an elderly female that had been retired for many, many years. She knew every employee in the bank. So when the bank allegedly called her, she knew it was not correct because of old school type investigation.
Yeah.
So she took the phone. It was a cordless phone with the antenna sticking out of it, not a cell phone, a cordless phone. She took the phone with her to the bank, so the bank called me. She hands me the phone. It's on the screen, and she's explaining to me, I know this person, I know this person. She even knew the cleaning staff. And I told her, great job. You know, I think it's hilarious the way you figured out that this was incorrect so quickly, because she knew everybody. And then she said, well, if this person worked here and I didn't know about it, I was going to be upset. Okay, all right. Well, let's try and have a happy customer here. Let's keep the customers happy here, guys.
Right.
So yeah, you know, anything we can easily spoof emails and phone calls.
Yeah.
What are you seeing from who? What agencies are allegedly contacting the victims?
Well, see, here's one of the big things is the IRS. We see the IRS scam. It comes up, and you think that would hit in February and March and April, but it seems that it happens year round. And so what happens is that you get a phone call from the IRS and says, hey, look, you're behind on your taxes. If you don't pay your taxes right now, we've got a warrant for your arrest and the police are on the way to come pick you up. And so that scares people, and they think, well, you know, I need to get this paid. And so what they do is they will ask for payment in iTunes gift cards. So they'll say, go to your local wherever, if it's drugstore or grocery store, and get X amount of dollars in iTunes gift cards. And unfortunately, we see that several people have fallen for this, unfortunately, and they do that. And then once you give them the number on the back of that card is, you may as well throw it in the trash. It's not valid anymore, but they have that on the other end. And so it's a big problem.
The other form of payment that I'm seeing in those types of scans is also some type of cryptocurrency. Everybody uses the word Bitcoin. That's just a specific type of cryptocurrency. And the reason that perpetrators like it, don't get me wrong, cryptocurrency has very legitimate uses, just like regular money does. But the reason they like the cryptocurrency is because it is even more difficult for us in law enforcement to try and track down these perpetrators. And Ronnie, we both know they're probably not anywhere near the United States.
No, see, and that's the other thing. It's people will say, well, it came from a 204 number or somewhere in Washington, 214, it's Washington, D.C. And then, you know, so it must be somebody there. It must be a real thing. And they can make a number look like any number they want it to make it look like. In fact, you know, talking about that, there's calls that people get from the Bowling Green Police Department or the Warren County Sheriff's Department. It says, hey, you got a warrant. And the number, they look at their caller ID and it says BGPD on it. So, you know, that's something that they're doing as well. So we ask people just to use logic and say, well, the IRS would never call you. They're gonna mail you dozens of times. If you owe them money, you know you owe them money, and they're going to remind you that through letters and things like that. They're not going to call you on the phone.
No, and the reason that the suspects want the victims to only have a few minutes to make this decision, you're talking about the split second. What they're afraid of is that citizen's going to pick up the phone and call me or you or somebody like us, and then we're going to say, oh, no, please let me talk to you about this. That's what they don't want to happen. That's why they put a timer on it and go, you've got 20 minutes to do this. They don't want them calling the police and us jumping up and down going, no, please don't do that. Now, let me explain to you what's about to happen to you.
Yeah,
Good.
A lot of times they'll hold the person on the phone while they go to a grocery store to try to make these transactions, because that's the intimidation factor. And they want to try to make sure that that person's following through with what they're supposed to do. And so we have talked numerous times to people who are clerks, and they say something's just not right about this because I see them holding the phone close by the whole time while this transaction's going on. And let me just side rail this whole thing. We work a lot with the banks too here locally. We do a lot of training with them, not only in scams, but also elder abuse, signs to recognize, things to look for, and then what actions to take. And because of this communication, this education, we receive calls from the banks now, and they say, hey, I've got a customer that I think is being scammed. Do you mind to call them? And I give them my cell phone number. I want them to reach out to me. I want to be able to try to intervene. And so we have people that here at our agency that have called and helpfully gotten people away from these scams. So there's a lot of angles that we attack this.
I did the exact same thing, and I was so appreciative of my banks. You know, if someone came in wanting to make a withdrawal and they didn't like it, they'd call one of us and just get down here. Come down here right now. And then usually I had to pull them aside in the office and go, that's not your boyfriend. Yeah, your grandson's not been arrested. That is, you do not play bond in anywhere with iTunes gift cards. It doesn't happen that way in this country or in others. It just doesn't work like that. You had mentioned the IRS. The other IRS scams that I've seen and we're still seeing is you go to get your taxes done, and then your accountant goes, someone's already done your taxes, and they've already spent your return. So what that is that's a form of identity theft. Once again, using the IRS as the threat vector there is to, hey, they're the mechanism, and it's one of the more common, unfortunately, identity thefts, and you don't realize it until you go to get your taxes done. And what our citizens need to do is, if that occurs to them, we don't care about their credit score. That is not what we in law enforcement care about in all. What we care about is what's on that credit report. I had a guy own a boat one time. He didn't know it until he got a letter, and then he ran a credit report. And the only one that is sanctioned by the federal government is the annualcreditreport.com. There's only one that sanctioned by the federal government, sponsored by the federal government. You get one credit report from each of the 3 credit reporting bureaus, which are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You get one of those free per year. So what I recommend, Ronnie, is we take the year, we break it, since there's 3 credit reporting bureaus and you get one per year free, break the year up into 4 months. Every 4 months, because they should be very, very similar. Every 4 months, run one of them. Now, if it turns out your accountant tells you you've got a boat you didn't know you owned, then we got a problem. On that credit report, if you legitimately had a credit card and it shows 0 balance and it's not closed, but it should have been, that's not a huge problem. That's okay. Get a hold of that place, go, hey, I had a 0 balance. I intended to close it. What we're concerned about is a line of data on there that you know is not correct. And in that case, please run all of your credit, all 3 credit report bureaus. And Ronnie, a lot of people don't realize you need a police report. You need an identity theft police report. Let us help you get going down that road.
Yeah, the 2 people that you really need to work with the closest during this is first of all, come to the police and let's get it started. And because a lot of times in order to continue forward, you need to have that police report. Right. So the faster we get that done, then we can turn the banks loose and we can turn everybody loose that needs to try to figure all of this out. The second people is your bank. And so they can put locks on cards, they can put locks on accounts, they can help you recover money, they can help in numerous ways, but an open line of communication with them is very important.
Yeah. And like you and I both know, it's a lot easier, cheaper, safer to prevent a crime than it is to solve one.
Yeah, and biggest part of like that is just look at your bank statement or have alerts on your phone or just check in with your bank every so often just to see, what's happening to my account. There's money coming out that I don't know where it came from or where it's going or anything like that.
I've got mine set up where, like you said, for alerts, and 2 different types of alerts. One is card not present. And that's one of the specific ones my financial institution was able to offer me and my credit card. And I like that one. That's fine. Maybe I did purchase something through Amazon. Well, then I get an alert. Hey, did you just buy something on Amazon? Yeah, it was me. It's legit. It's okay. Well, the card wasn't physically present.
Well, and in addition to that, that on the back of every credit card, you got the signature line. Well, you can see right there on mine whose signature is on there. Well,
nobody's
blank.
That's right.
They don't check. Nobody checks those, and so the fact that you think that that's going to secure your credit card is a myth. And because I've had that card for about 2 years, and no one has ever checked that. And I wouldn't fault them for it. It's just how systems work because we do so much online shopping anymore. So it becomes ever present to important to protect your card. Even though it's in your pocket, you still need to protect that number.
Absolutely. Is there anything else we need to hit during October Cybersecurity Month?
Well, one thing is I always like to touch on because of the dealing with so many elderly folks is the grandparents scam.
Yep.
Yeah, this one, they call you if your grandson or granddaughter calls you and says, hey, we left the country, I went down to Mexico, and the guy that I was riding with, we got in a wreck and he had some marijuana in his car and I've been taken to jail and now I need bond money. And so that turns in from $1,500 bond and then I need attorney's fees. So there's multiple phone calls made because once they get you for $1, they're going to keep coming back until they can get almost every dollar from you that they can. So, people, it's funny because we talk about all these scams and people will say, well, I had this phone call and they started saying this, and then I finished the conversation for them because we hear so many of these. But this particular one is sort of heart-wrenching because they play on your emotion, the fact that, that you hate the fact that a family member is in jail, your grandson, your granddaughter, and you want to do everything you can do to help them. But you need to verify those things first. And that's the one that they try to make you feel like you can't hang the phone up and call somebody else to verify because you don't know where they are. You got to take care of it right now. But they want you to drive to a store and get iTunes gift cards.
Yeah, and the smarter criminals, Ronnie, they're looking at social media. So let's say your grandkid might be in Mexico on vacation right now. That is the perfect time to hit up grandma or grandpa, looking at relationships on Facebook. And I personally don't have a Facebook account. There's a lot of information out there, and people don't realize we're giving out so much information. It's helping these bad guys formulate these scams.
Yeah, and I always tell people, look, it's great to post pictures of your vacation and that you're away and all of that, but do it the week after you're on vacation when you get back, so that because you don't want people knowing your house is empty or knowing
Exactly. Yeah, you still got old school crime to worry about too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we gotta worry about everything. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Well, Ronnie, it's been great talking to you, and I'm gonna have you on Arts Corner again, and I really appreciate what you and the rest of everybody is still doing for the community, and everybody be safe out there. And remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. I don't care if you live in Bowling Green or anywhere. Your local police department will be thrilled for you to call them. Any officer will spend 2 minutes on the phone with you, no problem. Let's look at something. If you even suspect it, we would much rather hear from you now before something bad happens. And if someone's trying to keep you hostage on the phone, it's a complete scam. No IRS, the police, nobody is going to do that.
That's right.
All right, Ronnie, it's great talking to you, sir.
You too, Art. Take care, buddy.
All right, thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.